There's so many things, as you said, that the President mentioned, 19 bills that he'd like Congress to look at. There are many other problems that you mentioned and others have mentioned. Where should the government begin? I mean, taking into consideration that you have to be realistic, things, as you said, are moving in the region as well. What's job number one right now?
You know, our economy is basically a consumption economy.
Okay, yeah.
We really, we heavily rely on the remittances.
Okay.
Okay. So that on its own has its life.
Okay.
Keeping the economy afloat. The question is the priority. Okay.
Yeah. From the Chamber's perspective.
From the Chamber perspective, many of our constituents are really the micro and the small. And we can see in the past 18 months or more, because of the COVID-19, a lot of them were badly affected. Mm-hmm. Okay. They either close shop, thereby, of course, the manpower, the laborers are out of a job, or they shrunk their operation. And now that we're hopefully that the geopolitical issue, the cost increase are external. Mm-hmm. Okay, that's pushed onto us. That would taper off. Okay.
Okay.
And we should be. The numbers speak for themselves. Mm-hmm. Manufacturing has been up. The service has been up. Agri has been up slightly. Primarily because they also feel the full impact of the increase in fertilizer. Mm-hmm. Okay, which somehow it's tied into the supply chain. Mm-hmm. Okay. So the MSMEs, okay, they are by establishment they about 99-point-something%. Yeah. Okay. By employment, they're about 60%.
Yeah.
By impact to our GDP,
30.
They're about 30+%.
Yeah.
Okay. But we need them. They're part of the supply chain and job creation.
Right.
So that must be really looked into.
Right.
And one of the areas, especially for the small ones, is the really the ease of doing business. Mm-hmm. Okay. We know after every election, you have some new faces mm-hmm. in the government, also in the local government. Mm-hmm. And over the past, the experience is that when you have a new set of officials, sometimes maybe because they want to try harder, mm-hmm. They would introduce new regulations or compliance, right. Not knowing that this affects
the impact on
the small guys.
Small guys, yeah.
So I shared this with the Secretary of Local Government, Secretary Ben-Hur, who might know quite well. Yeah. I said, Secretary, it's very important. And that is why we work closely with ARTA, mm-hmm. anti-red tapes. And we encourage them to work closely with our regional chambers mm-hmm. Because they have the visibility.
Yeah. Well, you talk about the MSMEs. There are two provisions there that need better implementation, it seems. Access to capital, yes. The fact that 10% of the loanable funds of banks yes. have to be given out, that's not implemented. Yes. There's some obvious problems there. Another one that's not as discussed as much is the fact that the Magna Carta compels the government to buy 10% of its total yes. procurement budget from MSMEs. That's not also being implemented.
Yes. Yes.
Now, you come from business, from the industry itself. The law is there. What's the roadblock that the government should look at to help, not only the businesses that you've been involved with, right. but the entire country essentially? What can be done to make sure that those provisions are actually executed?
Right. You're right about the 10%, the loan portfolio. Actually, if you extend it further, mm-hmm. there's another 25%, no? For the agrarian. Okay.
Yes, yes.
But let's focus on the MSMEs. They have to make not only the availability, but the process itself. Mm-hmm. Simplify it. Okay. Simplify in the sense that, of course, I don't blame the banks to be careful.
Yeah.
Okay, but now we can utilize the digital transformation.
This is what you were saying earlier.
Yes.
When the new officials come in,
Yes.
instead of making things simpler, it ends up being
Being more complicated.
Yeah.
So I would put the onus on SEC.
Okay.
Okay, because every establishment you have to register.
Okay.
Okay, and if there's only a way of having a process where important informations are given, and SEC would be the holder of those informations relevant to the that's important for banks to rely on. Okay, for
So
business,
simpler process.
simpler, even the number of documents you sign, all of that. We in business we know.
Yeah.
But we have the advantage of having, accounting department,
Right.
Financial, people
Yeah, people to do stuff.
to do things. But for the small ones, they're doing everything by themselves.
And it doesn't seem like there's no capacity to pay because they would willingly go to 5-6
Yes.
without the paperwork
Yes, yes.
and get the loans that
And
way.
get a loan. Of course,
Yeah.
from the banking side of their view is that they have to be careful on this, and that's why I said the government side of involvement like SEC, BIR can make it simpler. Like anybody who wants to apply for a loan, you have to submit your financial documents and everything like that, and it can be voluminous
Yeah.
and also cumbersome. And some of the small businesses may
They
not
just
be
can't. Yeah.
prepared for it.
Yeah.
But again, it's something that if we're cognizant about it, then something must be done.
So there seems to be a common theme in our conversation.
Yes.
Simplify, get rid of the bureaucracy,
Yes.
cut red tape. But the other aspect about supplying to government. Now, you've been in business. And,
Yes.
And our theory at Manila Times, we've written an editorial about this, is that many companies simply can't produce the capacity that the government is requiring because it obviously orders in scale, right? I was watching this video also of the Regional Development Council in Mindanao.
Yeah.
They have these orders coming in for bamboo-made products from the U.S., but the market is so fragmented that
Yes.
there's no supplier
There's no point.
capable of meeting the need. Now, you've been in manufacturing for generations, your family.
Yes.
What's the problem now?
We in a way, a lot of businesses, they do their own big brothers, small brothers.
Okay.
Okay, tying this supply chain, but in a very small scale.
Right.
Okay?
Mom and pop.
Mom and pop. We try to implement this, and it's something that we should continue. We're actually getting to have the information from big companies on what they need, what they buy, okay, and then who to contact. The small ones cannot have no resources of
Right.
connecting the dots,
Right.
with big companies.
Right.
So we hope that together with the government, as I said, DTI and the private sector, we can have some sort of a data center to act in a broader scale on the
Right.
big brother, small
Right.
brother. It's here, our businesses, a lot, especially for the small ones, are done on a relationship basis.
Okay.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Right.
Okay. But if you want to expand it, wherein you have the informations that would make you sort of gear up your operations to meet the demand of the buyer.
Yeah.
So this is a bit lacking on our side.
Yeah.
And
Is there something going on at the PCCI maybe to maybe help make it easier for buyers to locate many of these suppliers in the Philippines, or maybe act as the big brother, as you
yeah,
said?
in a way, we're trying to do that, but
Yeah.
we
It's a big
would
job.
we would like to expand it.
Yeah.
And it's easier said than done.
Sure.
We in one of our business conference, we try to piggyback on
Okay.
some of the presence e-market
Okay.
Because that's easier. Eh.
Okay.
They're there already.
Okay.
And they have the setup. No?
Right.
So it's how we can engage them with the proper rule of engagement. No? And the suppliers, screening the suppliers is just as important.
Right.
Screening the business establishment
Right.
who wants to participate.
Right.
Because I remember a long time ago, there's this reverse bidding. Okay, a big company would put an item out there that we need, let's say, 5 million pieces of this.
Mm-hmm.
So the suppliers would bid for it.
Yeah.
But I've heard certain cases wherein somebody won
Right.
at a price that is quite competitive,
Okay.
but later on he cannot supply.
Yeah.
So if you're the buyer,
Yeah.
you're left hanging.
Right.
And if your competitors, if the other competitors making that item know that you're stuck up,
Yeah.
they can take advantage of it.
Right.
So there's a dynamics to this. Eh?
Yeah.
So we hope, but talking about the government, and that's one thing I would like to encourage, that the government be more transparent in that side.
Okay.
Okay, when their needs are huge.
Okay.
Their government agencies like PS, no procurement, they're quite proficient
Right.
and professional.
Right.
Okay, but government buys a lot.
Right.
So we would like to, if the president mentioned about the right sizing, okay, and on the other side would be right pricing.
Right.
When you want to buy something that it's competitive and it's sustainable, wherein the supplier can supply you, and because normal business operations, the supply is a continuous transaction.
Right. Right.
So it's a both sides working arrangement. Like in our case, we have. I'm also in IT.
Yes. You
So
supply hardware.
We
and-
supply hardware. We supply. We're an SI, system
Yeah.
integrator.
Yeah.
And we do have contracts with government that stretch over a period of about 3 years. So you have to do your due diligence, especially now that the inflation is a factor, cost of money is going up.
Right.
So all of this, of course, this is the risk we take,
Right.
even on the exchange rate.
Yeah.
Nothing is nothing is you can, especially now.
Yeah.
Nothing is you can put your finger and say that's it.
Yeah.
You got to have some allowance. No?
Yeah. Well, I feel like we're dancing around the issue because it's so complex, but we'll be right back with Mr. George Barcelon, the president of the PCCI. This is SMNI's Business and Politics.